Hello and welcome to the No Huddle Football Podcast. I'm your host, and with me, my co-host Ryan Oakes. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good. I'm already over the fantasy season. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rough start for you over there, huh?
And it's probably the rough end already. Man, I can't afford to lose any more, like, at all.
Yeah, yep. I know that pain all too well. I think that's been me the last few years, starting
Two games in
starting
a
from
row.
the bottom, fighting.
2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Total points under one total point. But like
Oh,
both losses combined is like one total point.
yeah. That's a heartbreaker.
Brutal.
See, at least for me this week, after watching Thursday night football, I knew I had no chance. That was it. I
Yeah.
was going up against DJ Moore. I saw that
Yeah.
and I was just like,
It was
well,
rough.
I don't even have to stress this weekend. I'm just going to let it ride. I'm not even going to look at it until Tuesday when it's time to put in waiver claims. Other than that, I don't even care.
I haven't even looked at my team yet. I'll
Yep.
look at it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll get to
It's probably the worst loss of my life. That was about a 110-point loss,
Did you beat
which
me
is,
for the largest loss of the season so far? Because 2 weeks ago I had Steph had like 157 and I had an 80 or some shit like that. That was
oh
terrible.
yeah, no, that was the worst because I had 60 something and Carlos had like 170 whatever, which is funny because going into that week, I think I was projected one of if not the highest. Yeah, he ended up with 171.94 and I had 69.72, over a 100-point loss.
Uh,
Going into that week, I was projected to be one of the highest scorers of the week, at least top 3, and Carlos was projected to be the lowest. And, and then DJ Moore went off for him. You had Zach Moss, who he just plugged in because he had nobody else.
yeah, sure, he
Went
blew up.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had New York's defense did pretty good. Sam Laporta had his best game so far of his young career, so it was like everything was clicking for him
It's
perfectly for
one
the
of
week.
those weeks, yeah.
Well, the problem is I went through the same thing last week too. Whenever I had Mike, and then Mike had CMC and Pacheco, who was having an awesome game, and then Brandon Ayuk was popping off. So it's like 2 weeks in a row. I'm just going up against. I mean, granted, my teams for the last 2 weeks have been pretty bad because 2 weeks ago had really bad matchups. Last week was my heavy bye week, but now that's out of the way. So
Yeah.
hopefully can move forward now and start putting together some wins again. So
Yeah, I barely,
favored 73% win percent chance, although my 67% win chance went away in about a quarter of Thursday night football last week. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Jamar Chase is going to have 6 touchdowns this week.
I mean, he finally
So
got three, you know.
yeah, they're clicking. So we're gonna open up. After we've done a little venting about our fantasy football woes, going to open up with a little segment that I want to try and do a few more times, about every quarter this year. And it's a little thing we're going to call What We Knew, What We Thought We Knew, and What We Had No Idea About. Basically, kind of taking a look at the season so far. And, you can kind of either use whether it's about your fantasy team or about our armchair analyst picks. What's something that you thought was going to happen that so far through 5 weeks has happened that you pretty much nailed spot on?
I would say San Francisco's dominance for sure.
Yeah,
Too easy. Yeah.
yeah, that one we could see that one coming.
Yeah.
That was
If you said they were going to be bad, you just I don't understand your train of thought on that one. You
yeah.
know,
You
like
don't
what?
you don't know football if you thought
Yeah.
they were going to be terrible. They've been building up for quite a while. So
Uh,
yeah, that was a pretty easy one. For myself, I just put in general the NFC North and how that division is turning out.
okay.
We both picking the Lions to do better this year, and they're looking really good so far. Top of the
Mm.
division, what 4-1, coming down to Tampa this weekend. That'll be a fun game. That's why I gotta wear my creamsicle gear
That's right.
represent
Yeah.
because they're doing the
Yeah.
creamsicle uniforms this weekend.
It's a shame that Brady wasn't in that uniform.
I know.
Absolute shame.
Such a huge missed opportunity.
Absolute shame.
I I wish. Damn you, COVID.
Yeah, for
Made
real.
it to where that couldn't
Bastards.
happen.
That is like
But
obviously
yeah,
the
so
top of the list of things COVID did.
yes, that's the worst. No, definitely not. But so the NFC North, we had the Lions up at the top. I also was thinking, we both were thinking the Bears. We were not buying into the hype,
No, still don't.
and so far, I mean, what are they? 1-4.
No.
So
Yeah,
still not
don't,
there.
yeah.
Packers are very mid to below average. And the Vikings, this is what I thought was going to happen with the Vikings is that their team was just going to crumble this year. They lost way too many pieces in the offseason, especially defensively. And I'm like, I don't think that the offense can keep up enough at this point. They were struggling last year. They were barely, because remember, they brought up that stat. They won all these one possession games
yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Their offense was scoring. Their defense wasn't great, but it was barely keeping them in there. And now their defense, it's not working for them anymore. And now I see the news that broke. I don't know if you saw it. Justin Jefferson go into the IR for the next at least 4 weeks. Now there's just talk of, are they going to do like what they did with Cooper Kupp last year, where if his team is just falling apart, what's the rush to bring him back?
Yeah, shelve him.
Yeah, are you going to put him on the shelf, or are you going to trade him? Because I don't see this team winning a championship anytime soon.
Yeah, they can get him. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, is it time to hit the reset button and start rebuilding already? And, there's been talk of Kirk Cousins leaving, talk of Justin Jefferson leaving. Time to stock up on draft picks and work for a rebuild for 4 to 5 years down the road.
Yeah, you could get a shit load of draft picks for just Justin Jefferson alone. Don't mind. I mean, they probably get rid of Harrison as well. Like trade him off the safety. Why can't I think of his old name right now? But still, yeah. Like why not? Like your quarterback's old. Older for a quarterback, and if your only good player is not available, like dude, the writing's on the wall, man. Get rid of it. Get rid of everything you have.
Yeah, might be time to blow up everything. You could, I'm sure, find a home. Kirk Cousins. I don't know how much time does he have left on his deal. What if he went to New York Jets for the year?
Yeah,
try and help them save their season. I think that could work there. And then Justin Jefferson could go literally anywhere.
Yeah, plug him in.
Literally
don't matter.
Anywhere.
He would make any team that much better.
Yeah. Now I know it would never happen because of cap space, but man, it would be so cool. Like, because we know T. Higgins is out the door in Cincinnati next year because of cap problems.
Oh, yeah.
It will never happen. But could you imagine it if there was a reunion of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow? That would be insane. It would be unfair for the rest of the league.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure Thaddeus Moss is a free agent, so like their tight end that they had at LSU, like you could pick him up too, like get the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he was pretty he was a pretty serviceable tight end for a college player. But it would be nice to see that. I mean, it'll never happen in these times. Like everyone's about securing that bag. But I would love to play with my boys if that was it. Like I locked in some money already. Like let's take a knee for like a solid 2 years. See if we can like really win this, and then we'll go back to I want my money.
Yeah,
me and the boys are playing together. Pay me.
Yeah. Can you imagine having the top 2 receivers in the league on the same team with a top 5 quarterback at the same? That would be insane.
I would start getting cocky. I'd be like, if I was Joe, I'd be like covering my eyes and just whipping it down the field like, oh, one of them will
let's
get
see
it.
who gets under it. Yeah, that would be insane. Never will happen, but that would still be cool. Yeah. All right, now on to what's something that you thought you knew, something that maybe you were a little bit off on as far as going into this season.
I mean, I can go 2 ways here. So as for fantasy, I thought I was going to ride my way to the playoffs and maybe a championship on the back of Nick Chubb, like the Browns hope to do every single year. Didn't happen.
No.
And I can also say I was super wrong about the Jets.
Yeah, well, that's understandable given the situation.
But they just completely crumbled. Do you think Aaron Rodgers? I mean, yes, obviously, but like he made that much of a difference. One offensive player basically is the whole reason 52 other players can't get it together. It's wild.
Well, I think it's just a matter of being that it's their quarterback. Everything was built around him. Zach Wilson he's not it. And it's hard, for offense, you can't get going if your quarterback is struggling to get you the ball.
Yeah.
And then at that point, people they can start stacking in the box if they don't have to worry about your quarterback beating them over the top. So then your running backs can't get going. And then on the defensive side, it's going to be hard for them to really make an impact if they're always on the field. If he's turning the ball over left, right, and center, they're never getting a rest. And it's one thing. You got to think like whenever we were playing softball, this is the way I think about it. If your offense is doing really good, you're a lot looser because we can make a mistake here or there and everything is fine.
Yeah.
We're going to put up another 4 runs the next inning. And so I got to imagine they're thinking the same way. Whereas like when our offense wasn't clicking, you're like, all right, defensively, we have to lock it down. Everything's got to be perfect. You cannot make a mistake. And then it causes more mistakes,
Yeah.
You start winging the ball over somebody's head or, miss a ground ball that you should get. And I imagine that's got to be the same for professional. They can't slip up at all. And they have to constantly, make every single play. There's no room for error.
And I'm sure like brushing off of the mistakes too is, like, yes, you're going to make them, but like, again, like to your point, whenever you're doing good, it's like you make them, it's like, oh shit, well, we'll get them next time. Right. Like no big deal. We're good. But it's like, you make that mistake when you're losing, like, fuck, we're screwed. But you don't shake
compounded.
it off. Yeah. And then he just weighs you down, yeah, exactly. Compounded, weighs you down.
Yeah. And it starts to snowball and then it gets out of control. And then you're 1-4, whatever they are now, 2-3, 1-4. Things are looking bleak.
They're the Jets. That's what they are.
Yep. Classic Jets. So the thing I thought I knew, but I was wrong, is I thought that it would take this rookie class of quarterbacks, all of them, I thought it would really take them a lot of time to really get going. Anthony Richardson, of course, is hurt again, as you know, being that he's on your team. Bryce Young, yes, he has started kind of slow. The Panthers, worst team in the league right now, 0-5. But the part I didn't know is C.J. Stroud. I got to give credit where credit's due. We've knocked the Ohio State quarterbacks, but he is the only one so far that has looked like a legitimate quarterback. Your team's 2-3, not great, but he's looked pretty great so far. Like he looks calm and collected in the pocket right now. And the fact that it set the record for most pass attempts without an interception to open his career. Like that's something right there. He's definitely starting off better than I expected.
In counting, because he didn't throw an interception in that in the last game, so like he still has this whole week. We can go to the tape.
So he's at.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's had 186 pass attempts with no interceptions.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Because the old record was in like the 170s, I think.
I think it's like 182, and I think after that was like I forget. It's like Cam Newton, Brady. There's another like, was it Jared Goff? I forget.
Yeah, it was something weird.
Yeah, it was like an odd one that I was like, oh, interesting. What I was going to say is we can go to the tape. I don't know if it's episode 1 or 2. I said I think C.J. Stroud will be the only quarterback out of the last bunch of as far as the time that he would be the most NFL ready.
Yeah, you did. I do remember that you had made that comment, and I kind of felt the same way, but I still felt like it was going to take him some time to get ready, and like I just feel like through 5 weeks. Not saying like he's a superstar quarterback just yet, but he definitely feels further along than the other quarterbacks in that class, and maybe even further along than some of the quarterbacks from last year or the year before that.
I think
with coming in.
I think what he benefited.
Go ahead.
I think what he benefited from was being humbled in college. Like, yes, he was super good, and he was like Heisman candidate and all this fun stuff. but he couldn't beat Michigan, which is like the reason you are at one of the two schools is to beat the other school, and if you don't do that, like you're like looked different upon. But like I think him is like, all right, well I'm on zero pedestal essentially. It's like I couldn't do the thing I'm at the school to do. And when he transferred to the NFL, it's like, is he clutch? Yada yada yada. Did just fine.
You think maybe that also helped because then there wasn't overhype for him going into this year, like what we've seen with some of the others?
Yeah, exactly. So like Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback, like all these stats in college, like national championship, yada yada yada. Okay, cool. What are you doing now? And then Anthony Richardson, all this hype, like look at him fucking do all this, blah 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 blah, and he's hurt because he's doing all that shit in the game.
Yeah, you can't be running all the time in the pro game. Like we've seen that time and time again. It just doesn't work out. In college, the players are much smaller.
Yeah, these are
like one of the big looking dudes. These are
purebred killers out there.
Yes. It's unfortunate because I really did want to see him do good, being a Florida fan. But
he gave me a good game. The one healthy game he was on my team, he did all right. I think he had like 4 total touchdowns. I was like, oh, cool. Nope, no more.
He crushed it that week. But yeah, through 5 weeks, Stroud, he's got 114 out of 186 for 1,461 yards, averaging just under 300 yards a game, 7 touchdowns, and as we said, no interceptions. So that's a pretty decent start to his career.
Let's see if he had more touchdowns, it'd be better than Cam Newton's start from 2011. Because that, to me, that was like the most like wild shit when he just when Cam Newton came in, he was like just 400 yards, 300, like just tud after tud. And you're like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah, it was insane. I'm kind of rooting at this point. I'm kind of rooting for the Texans because I feel bad they've gone through so much crap down there.
Yeah,
all their good players left. Hopkins is gone. JJ Watt, like everybody just jumped ship and left that area. So, and remind me, who's their coach that they just hired for the Texans? Because
couldn't tell you.
I cannot think of it right now.
I find it sad that
D'Amico Ryans.
Oh yeah,
Ryans,
that's right. Yeah, I forget. Yeah, they just keep.
I want him to do good.
Yeah, because I mean every other coach seems it's like the ones that are the worst ones get like the longest tenure, and you're like, dude, like you're doing us no good. And an innovative dude comes in with shitty pieces. You're like, do something. That was your shot. You're out of here.
You're out.
What?
So, hopefully D'Amico does good there.
I mean, looking good so far.
All right, and the last part is, what is one thing that you were just way off on? Something you had no idea about going into this season?
Ooh, I really don't know. Let you go first. Let me give it a thought.
Let me think on that for a second. So my thing that I had no idea about was that the Broncos were going to be an absolute dumpster fire this year. Like,
yeah,
I thought that Sean Payton was going to help get them closer to his old Saints team level. He took Drew Brees, elevated his career, got that team going in the right direction. And my goodness, they have just been complete laughingstock of the league. And yet again, they lose again. Although I was so glad to watch them lose this week. I forgot that they were going up against the Jets and that whole stuff going on there. With Hackett and everything.
That was pretty nice to see.
So like,
fuck you, dude.
Yeah, that was super satisfying. But I think I had picked them as the potential most improved team based off their win total from last year for our armchair analyst. And that's why I say I was just way off. I thought they were going to jump up to like 10, 11 wins. You got Russell Wilson there who underperformed, a team that was, struggling with some coaching issues or whatever. And I'm like, all right, they've got all the pieces there. Time to turn things around. And man, was I way off. They're just an absolute dumpster fire in Denver right now.
Yeah, it's tragic to watch. The Jets game was just, but as far as what I was dead wrong on, and probably a lot of stuff, honestly.
Which one are you most disappointed in?
I really don't know. I think I would have to say I'm probably my hopes for the Browns. I mean, granted, with Nick Chubb being out, that drastically changes things. Because I just think he's just too much of the team. So it's like, it's one of those like, should I just chalk this loss or this year up already? Like most Browns fans do most years. Like, well, we're out of this one.
Yep.
Like, is it that time already? I thought it would have had at least mid-season.
I mean, where do they even stand right now? Are they at the bottom of their division right now? Let's see.
I don't know. That division's weird as shit right now. It's a weird division right now. That Ravens Steelers game. What kind of game was that?
I don't know what happened to the Ravens that game. I hate to see Pittsburgh. This is what kills me: is Pittsburgh is on top and Cincinnati's at the bottom. That's the worst for me.
Yeah. I mean, for everyone other than Pittsburgh fans, and that's like 31 other teams.
So let's transition back a second to the, as I called it, the toilet bowl game of the week, which was the Jets and the Broncos. There, did you closely watch a lot of this game, or just kind of catch some highlights afterwards?
I mean, for the most part, I got as much as Red Zone would show me, which was an alarming amount. I didn't think they would show such a terrible game as often as they did.
Yes, it was featured way more than I thought it would. I think it felt like at times like neither team wanted to win the game.
There's like running the clock out, like, hey, whoever has the most at the end, good on you. Okay.
Like with all the turnovers, because what do we have here? So Zach Wilson had an interception, and then I see Zach Wilson also had 2 fumbles, but he recovered one of them. One of his teammates recovered the other one. Xavier Gibson, he had a couple of fumbles, and then on the flip side for Denver, I don't think Russ Wilson had any. No, he didn't have any interceptions. But he had 2 fumbles, of which he lost one. Samaje Perine had a fumble. Marvin Mims had a fumble. So they also had 4 fumbles. Like, everyone's just dropping the ball out there. And it was just such a back and forth game to see who is one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, let's compete for that. Let's really compete for that #1 draft pick, bro.
Yeah.
Let's battle it out.
It was just really bad. But like we were talking about, really happy to see that the Jets got the win, which I never thought I would ever care for the Jets to win anything. But it seemed like they were all trying to work for that win for their coach. I saw he got the game ball afterwards. I saw, what was it? The after the game handshake. I don't think Hackett and Sean Payton shook hands, but Robert Saleh, and Sean Payton shook hands. And then his just 2 words to him that Saleh said to him, he just said, "Stay humble," shook his hands and walked away.
Get fucked, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. That's very classy. Very classy.
Yeah. That was like
so much was said with 2 words.
Yeah. Because he couldn't say what he really wanted. The 2 words he really wanted to say, which was "fuck you."
Oh, yeah, or get fucked.
You know? Yeah, exactly. So that was a rough game to watch.
You know, Sean Payton just seething mad after that. Like the moment he heard, he's like,
Yeah. You knew. And I meant to before we started recording tonight, but I've been so busy this week. I really wanted to find a Sean Payton post-game interview just to see what kind of shit he had to say and how pissed off he was. I really wanted to watch it. I'll probably do that after this.
Probably would have pulled a Marshawn Lynch. Like, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It sucks. So, speaking of coaches, poor performances, this is about the time of year when people start looking at people that had slow starts, be it they're underperforming or it's a coach that's had yet another slow start. And so, what are some coaches you think that might already be on the hot seat. Hot seat alert, if you will. Maybe not on the hot seat yet because we are only 5 games in. But which coaches do you think, if they don't turn around their season, might be gone next year?
Let's see here. I think Ron Rivera, likely.
He's on my list. I feel like I was thinking him just because they've kind of been average to below average since he's been there. I could see them wanting to bring in maybe some new, like, young, innovative coach, and also think too,
or they just have Eric Bieniemy right there, so they could just hire him.
There you go. There you go. If he can do all right this year, maybe they just promote him and give him a shot. Why not? I don't know why no one's given this man a shot yet.
So many weapons on that team too. They're just like not utilized correctly.
Yeah.
Defensively, offensively, like they have a pretty good team. Like on paper, they're just not utilized correctly. Like those dudes could become names bigger than they are, you know.
But think too, one other thought on that real quick. They have new owners now. So maybe the new owners slid in this year. Hey, we're going to leave everything it is. And then maybe going into next year, you know, hey, that was Ron Rivera. That was Dan Snyder's guy. We're going to bring in our guy now.
Yeah. Cause I'm sure like once they see like the books,
hot seat.
Yeah. I'm sure that once they see like the ROI on what they bought, they're like, sorry, bud.
Yeah. Thank you, but we're done here.
Yeah. We wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors. I think Josh McDaniels, easy. Get out of there. You'll see ya.
Perfect. That's another one on my list too. Josh McDaniels, that has been, I don't know. Do you think after this chance, do you think people will stop hiring him as a head coach and just let him stay as an offensive coordinator? Yeah. He just needs to top out at offensive coordinator.
Or just not leave the Patriots. Like, just stay there. You're never going to be a head coach. Just stay where you know you can be successful and make some money and whatever else. Like, who cares?
I could see them wanting him to come back.
Like, who cares?
Yeah, they've been having a lot of trouble there in New England, so I could see them wanting to bring him back if he were to be let go.
Yeah,
with the Raiders. Sense. And yeah, he just looks lost there. I don't know. I don't see that working out. So he was also on my list. I had 3. You've already named 2, so I have to say you've got a pretty good list so far. I've got only 1 more on my list.
So, these aren't my 2 picks. So there's 2 teams I would say that are like, I would say right there, they're the warm seat. We'll say they're not my hot seat, but they're on the warm seat. and that is both New York coaches.
Yeah,
like Robert Saleh, I think he gets a caveat because like the piece, the main cog was eliminated immediately. So I'm like, if you give him that shot, like he'll probably hoist the Lombardi trophy. It's very possible. So it's like it doesn't matter, right? And then Dabble, like, it's your guy out there that's struggling.
Yeah. Yep.
This is what you wanted. But so the definitely like the warm seat, but I think was it Brandon Staley, the Chargers coach? Like, bro, you're fucking some clock time up. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like they lose more games. I forgot
about him out there.
Right? Exactly. They lose so many games to negligence. Like so many. I would say at least 6 in the last 2 years. 6. Like they're 2-2.
Especially how did he not lose his job after that whole Raiders game last year? At the end of the year, run out the clock, and you're in the playoffs. That's it. You're in with a tie. The game is over. You're in the playoff. What do you have to gain by beating them? Like, are you knocking them out? But what does it matter? You're not going to see them in the playoffs unless the 2 of you make it to the AFC Championship game, which wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. But he did it this last week too. I forget what it was, but he had a like some kind of weird bonehead like coaching decision, and I just remember the announcers going like, I don't know what he's doing. It was very brief. I was like, what the fuck? Like, but yeah. But it's 2 years of it so far, of like weird decisions that like are very costly.
Yeah, at some point they have to realize that he's costing them games. clock management has always been a problem there the last few years. It's frustrating to watch them sometimes to see that they have all that talent there with Herbert and Eckler and
Keenan Allen,
Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and
2 tight ends, the Parham and the some great offensive pieces. Khalil Mack on the other side.
Yes. And you can't put together a game-winning drive because when there's a minute and a half left and you take 40 seconds per play and you get 3 plays out when you should get 6 or 7 or 8 plays out, it's infuriating.
Yeah, because you burned all 3 of your second half timeouts in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah, exactly. So my third one that I said could be on the hot seat, maybe like you said, maybe a warm seat. I wonder, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier. What about Kevin O'Connell at the Vikings? If they're going to just blow up this whole operation, you're going to get rid of your star receiver. You're going to get rid of your quarterback. You might get rid of, because he had a team there and he couldn't, almost like I'm not going to quite put him on this level, but similar to Tony Dungy. He got the Bucs very close to the Super Bowl, but he was struggling to get over the hump. I still hate that firing, even though that we went on to win the Super Bowl. I still hate that firing. Yeah. But the whole fact of the team got close, but he can't quite get him over the hump, and maybe they say, you're a good coach, but we need a great coach, so we need to try someone else because we know with you've leveled out at playoff team, maybe 1 win. But usually we don't even win a playoff game, and that's your peak.
Yeah.
So I could see them wanting to move on from him.
Yeah, I mean, very likely. I mean, if you're gonna restart completely, like bring in some young dude, try something. Obviously, what you're doing is barely working.
Yeah, barely, but not good enough. They don't play the game to make the playoffs. They make it to win playoff games and ultimately win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, why does everything have to be one possession? Win a game. Don't chance into a win. Win a game.
Go dominate somebody. So this past week we had finally Joey B finally had his bounce back game. It only took him 5 weeks this year. Geez, last week it was 2 weeks. This year it was older. 5 weeks.
He's getting older.
The injury, the calf injury, it's been hard to watch, but I was glad to see he finally looked like Joe Burrow this past week. I mean, granted, it was against the Cardinals, but maybe that's what he needed was a good tune-up game.
Yeah, I mean that's fair to say. I mean, that's what again, college, that's what you want the first couple games is cupcakes, so you can all right, let's just demolish these guys to make sure we're good to go.
Yeah.
For Joe Burrow, I think same thing. I think he kind of just needed an easy game, easy as far as professional standards, I guess, but at the same time, I'd like to see some consistency. Now do this for real. And I think it was just a matter of, like I said before about him, he just had to get used to the balance of that wallet weighing him down, dude. It just takes time, dude. He's not as mobile, that torque to throw it that with that wallet in that back pocket, that torque, it's just not the same. So you had to get used to it. It takes some time.
Is that where the pressure on the calf is that?
Yeah. You got to build the strength. Yeah, you just have to build the strength. That wallet's heavy. That wallet's very heavy.
Well, so I saw he went 36 for 46, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Typical Joe Burrow game. Yeah. Found his guy, Jamar Chase, got back in sync there. Thank goodness, the two of them. That was an insane game from Jamar Chase. 15 catches, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
That's all Bengals records right there. Some shit, too.
Yeah. And one 7-Eleven meme on Twitter afterwards.
I didn't see that.
Did you see that?
No.
So him after last week, someone was interviewing him about, are you getting open or whatever? And he's like, I'm open. I'm always open. And so after this game with his 15 catches, he sent out a picture of 7-Eleven because 7-Eleven is always open. That was his little thing there. He said, see, I told you guys, I'm always open. Just give me the ball. So happy to see that. But like you said, can we see any consistency out of them? They've got the Seahawks this week, which should be a good game. That would be a good game to kind of test it out. But then after that, they've got two very difficult games at the 49ers and then hosting the Bills. That's going to be two very tough games. So we'll get a really good idea over the course of the next 3 weeks if he is officially back or not, or was that just a fluke game against one of the worst teams in the league in the Cardinals?
Which,
So just say I'm very happy that I picked up Tua as a backup quarterback because this is the first time in years that I've invested high in a quarterback in fantasy. The last time I did that, I got Tom Brady the year that he played one game, threw for 76 yards, and then was out for the rest of the year. That was the only other time I've invested high in a quarterback. Normally I wait 6th, 7th, 8th round, 10th round. But because of the way our league is, I had to go 4th round. I said, I'm getting a quarterback early. And I told myself I was either going Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, or Trevor Lawrence. Trevor hasn't looked great. Well, Joe Burrow has been hurt. And Justin Herbert has been on fire. So grabbed the wrong one, but oh well. I got Tua in my back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, and think like you usually have him on your bench, especially like for like really good games. That's where you like to keep him, which is cool to see.
But Tua, yeah. For that one game. Yeah, that was the opening game, though. That was the opening week. I think he's been my starter pretty much ever since then.
That was a good time.
Yeah, damn it. I think he will be. Yeah. And I should have known that Burrow against the Browns is never good. I should have known to take him out. I just paid way too much attention to my receivers and my running backs and didn't think twice about quarterback. Because if I would have looked at it even once, I was expecting the Browns to win that game. And I was expecting him to have a rough, low-scoring game. Just forgot to do it. Just look beyond that. So
I know I made all these predictions, but I'm just going to totally ignore them for this.
Yes,
that's totally how much faith I have.
I skipped right over the very first person in the lineup and went right down to receivers and running backs and skipped right over. But got Tua in there again this week, going up against Carolina, so his receivers should tear them up.
Poor Panthers.
I need to wait and see a little bit further. What's that?
Said poor Panthers.
Yeah. You're just going to get torn up.
And it's in Miami too. Brutal.
Yep, in Miami. So even better. All right. Well, before we go, we're going to do our wrap-up segment here that we're going to start doing each week. We're going to pick just 3 games. Give us 2 locks and an upset for the week for these games. What do you got?
2 locks. Chiefs over Broncos tomorrow. Easy peasy. That is a lock for sure. Like, those dudes are going to get pushed around.
Yep.
Let's see here. Let's do it. Yeah, another one. Dolphins, Panthers. Easy lock. Just easy. For an upset, though, I do think on Monday, I think the Chargers are gonna handle the Cowboys. I think it's like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, they looked terrible against the 49ers.
Oh, they did. They looked bad.
And I think
they've lost 2 out of 3 weeks now.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys are gonna come out and trying to do too much. And I just think, again, the team's just too good. Like, Khalil Mack's just gonna be everywhere defensively.
Yeah.
And then what's it? Diggs, like, defensively for the Cowboys, it's like everyone like rides this dude's dick, like how awesome he is. It's like, yeah, but he also gives up the most of everything. Like, yes, he has 7 interceptions, his rookie year. Yes, he had 7 interceptions, but he also gave up the most yardage by any cornerback that there was. Yeah. Like he only cares about the ball. So it's like, if you Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, he's going to push him around.
Yeah, I could see that offense doing a little bit of damage there to the Cowboys. Catch them while they're at a low spot right now. So for my 2 locks and an upset, got the same thing. Chiefs over Broncos. That just feels like a very obvious pick. I saw an interesting stat today regarding the Chiefs and the Broncos.
Yep.
Did you know that the Broncos have more recently won a Super Bowl than beat the Chiefs?
Well, yeah, I know Patrick Mahomes has never lost to him, and I think on some level, Alex Smith didn't either.
Yep. The last time it was the year before, I think they won that Peyton Manning and the Broncos, which feels like a lifetime ago. It was
10 years
before
ago.
that was the last time that the Broncos have beat the Chiefs. So that really feels like a lock of the week right there. And then I also had the Dolphins over Panthers. Those just felt like two very obvious games, like so far obvious. And there's like a drop off after that point.
Yeah, it becomes competitive after that.
Home, yeah, there's I don't feel like they're a lock after that. I got some picks, but maybe not a lock.
Sure.
And yeah, I just think the Dolphins are going to run wild over the 0-5 Panthers at home in Miami.
Yeah. With a rookie quarterback on the other side. Like, have fun, bud.
Yeah, good luck. It's try and keep up with our high-powered offense. Good luck. You've got to be best game of your life right now to keep up with us.
I'll drop 65 on y'all. How about that?
Yeah. Do you think you could put up more than that? Because if not, then you're not keeping up. And then my upset of the week, and I'm basing my, as far as picks and upsets, I was just looking at the ESPN app where they have the line right now. So for my upset of the week, you're going to hate it, but I'm going to go with the Bears over the Vikings.
How dare you?
I think.
How dare you support the Bears in any form or fashion?
I just think the Bears are riding high after having that almost comeback, and then they finally got the big win last week. And then now you're facing a Minnesota team who is definitely spiraling. Now you're losing Justin Jefferson. Like, the sky is falling in Minnesota. So, but somehow Minnesota is still favored to win this game. So I'm going to say I think the Bears are my upset of the week over the Vikings.
Well, I hope you're dead wrong. I hope the Vikings wax them somehow. But I mean, don't you have the rookie receiver from like Madison Addison, whatever. There's all the
Addison
over there. Yeah.
Madison's the running back. Addison. Yeah, no, I hope he shreds them.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be a high scoring game. We could be talking, 38-35 Bears over the Vikings. Because again, the Vikings defense, can they keep up? Slow down the Bears or anything. So I would not be upset if the Vikings beat the Bears. Don't get me wrong. That's just who I have for my upset of the week.
As long as you take according to Justin Fields' stats from last week, if you take out DJ Moore, he is like 3 for 5 with 30 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then Minnesota might want to look at a double teaming DJ Moore or figure out something, because
I want to say it's something absurd like that, because he had
get torched.
Because DJ Moore had 230 yards receiving or something like that. I think Justin Fields still had under 300 yards passing. They had like 285. Like that. So 50 more yards were accounted for by the rest of the offense. Good Lord, take him out. Take out DJ Moore.
Yeah, double team them, make them not a factor, make them beat you anywhere else, because they also lost their running back, Khalil Herbert. The Bears did.
Yeah, for a while.
So you're going to be on some backup running back. Take out DJ Moore, double cover him, chip him at the line, do something. But I don't know. We'll see. I think the Bears are riding high. The Vikings are spiraling. There's your upset of the week.
Hate that pick. Don't like it.
I knew you would. All right. Well, that does it for this episode. Do you have any final thoughts to send us out on this week?
Nothing football related. I will say congratulations to you this weekend. For those who don't know, Chris is getting married this weekend. I'm the best man, super pumped. So we're going to have a great time Saturday.
Yes, sir. It's going to be awesome. All right. Well, we will see y'all later.